बाहर the next. Hello and welcome to the fifth edition of the Faculty Digest, the live sessions that we do from our in house studio here at Faculty. I'm Parvati Mohan and I head the audio visual production efforts here. And what is the Faculty Digest? For those of you joining us for the first time, it's a fortnightly special where we take you through some of the work that goes on behind the scenes, and a lot of that work of course is what gets translated to the videos that we have on our YouTube channel. So just to take you through some of the amazing work that our teams here are doing so that you get to know something more in depth about the kind of data stories and the kind of fact checks that we do here, among other things. And so before we get into that, and before we get into the fortnightly highlight or the update that we get from our teams in house, quick reminder: our memberships are live, have been live for some time now, and we do have a few members. So thank you all for joining. And for the rest of you, do consider joining the memberships. It's a great way for you to engage with what we do and to show your support for the work that we do here. And yeah, some perks of course are included. Your The comments you send, for example, will get top priority in terms of response from us. And also, speaking of comments and engagement, please remember to ask your questions. Leave it in the live chat that you can see to the side of your screen, and we will towards the end of the live, we will take as many questions as we can and try to answer them to the best of our capabilities. But nevertheless, keep asking us your questions on social media, on our videos elsewhere, and we will try to get back to you. We will, in some form, get back to you. All right. So, with that, we'll quickly get into the fortnightly update. Joining me from the newsroom is Pavitra, who's on the Faculty Digest for the first time. Hi, Pavitra. And so, I think very quickly to get into the update, then, following the awful tragic accident that happened in Odisha, the train accident, your team did an in-depth story on compensation claims for railway accident victims. Not just this one, of course, it's the general trend over the years as the newsroom does. So before we get into the findings of that report, can you take the viewers through what kind of sources your team went through and how you collected this data?
Okay. So, first of all, like what all other media channels and all reported is like the number of deaths, or like the various relief measures announced by like different state governments and such things. So we wanted to add a different aspect to it. Like we wanted to see like how the disposal of these claims are, the claim compensations. So for this, like we went through like multiple sources of data because we don't have it like in one particular place. So like we went through the law commission report. We went through like the responses of like the railways ministry in both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. We also went through like the railways. There's this yearbook like where they publish all these important statistics related to railways every year. So yeah, so we went through like multiple sources and we collated the data for this story. Yeah, so it's an interesting one.
Yeah. So obviously, when you've gone through so many sources, there must be a wealth of information that came your way. So what were the main findings that came across?
Yeah. Okay. So we the Railways Claims Tribunal, which is actually responsible in determining the the amount of compensation to be given for each case. Uh, like in the tribunal, like we saw that about 60% of the sanction strength is vacant. So and also like there's this huge pendency, or I mean backlog of these pending cases with the tribunal. And we also saw that like what the average time taken for disposing a claim is about 4 years.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So yeah, so that was one very like an outcome. Yeah, and also we noticed that the number of claim cases per year has actually dropped. Like, from 2009-10 to 2021, it has dropped by about 84%. But at the same time, the amount paid as compensation has increased from like rupees 14 crores to about 84 crores, like in this decade. Again, we also saw that the amount paid as compensation for accidents and injury, I mean, for deaths and injuries, has dropped over the years.
Okay.
Which could be because the number of like accidents and the number of casualty has actually like it's because like that has also reduced over the years.
Right.
Yeah. So these are some of the like important findings.
Right.
So we also wrote an explainer on like the different compensation schemes available, and about the railways insurance scheme and everything.
Yeah.
Like you can refer back to our website for
Yeah.
the detailed story. Yes.
Yeah, so all of these articles that we're talking about are on our website factly.in, and at the end of this live, we will also be putting the links in the description so that you can go back and go through them in greater detail. The other story that I think we need to talk about today is, obviously Manipur is in the news because of the clash between different communities. And in this context, your team has analyzed the patterns of violent outbreaks in the northeastern states. So, what are the main findings of that study?
Okay, like for this story, we looked at, I mean, we collated data from the annual reports of the Ministry of Home Affairs for the last 2 decades, like from 2001 to 2021, on the incidents of violence in Northeast India. So this is also available in our Dataful, like that's where we refer to, and that's what we refer to. And yeah, so what we observed was that there has been a significant drop in these incidents reported in the last 20 years, like that we have analyzed. And the Manipur and Assam are the two states like which account for like about 65% of the cases reported. Like they are the most affected states. Then we also observe that along with the reduction in the incidents, the death of say security force personnel, civilians, and also the extremists has also reduced over the years. And like say about more than 1,000 security force personnel have been like reported dead in these 7 states like over these 20 years. And about 2/3 of them are from again Assam and Manipur.
Okay.
And again we also saw that like about 5,800 900 extremists were killed, and about 11,000 had surrendered themselves, like which could be a reason why there has been a reduction in these incidents. And we also saw that like about 4,600 700 civilians were killed over the years, and again 47% were reported from Assam alone.
Okay.
Yeah. And also like in spite of like Manipur having the highest number of incidents reported, like compared to Assam, it had like a proportionately lower number of death of civilians.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is what we found in the story.
Okay. So I think yes, definitely will make for interesting reading. Go back and check the article out. With that, we're done with the fortnightly update from the newsroom. Thank you, Pavitra. We are now moving on to the next team. As those of us who've joined us before know that we cover these fortnightly highlights for two teams from within Factly. And the next team that we're going to be talking to is the research team, which is going to make its debut on the Factly Digest today. We've never had anyone from the research team on the show before, so we're very excited. And in the meantime, if I may please remind you all, please ask your questions in the live chat and we will take them towards the end of the live. And check out that join button next to our channel name so that you can take a look at our memberships program. You can wait till the end of the live for that. We wouldn't mind that, but do check it out. And yeah, reach out to us in every way that you can. Follow us at Factly India on social media platforms. And of course, our website, as we've spoken about already, is factly.in. And all right, the other website that we will talk about apart from factly.in is dataful.in. And to speak about that is my colleague Akhil. Hi, Akhil.
Hi.
And so, yeah, I mean, Pavitra also mentioned Dataful when she was talking about the Northeast story. And We at Factly are all excited about this product, but why don't you take our viewers through what Dataful really is?
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Dataful is a new portal launched by Factly. Anybody can visit on dataful.in.
Mm,
Why we have launched Dataful? Like, we want to make the process of working with public data easy, fast, and simple.
mm,
Currently, there are more than 15,000 datasets on the portal, covering more than 50 sectors. It can be health, education, law and order, justice,
mm,
and also even cinema too.
mm,
So there are diverse datasets on the Dataful portal, which people can go onto the portal, search for it, and also download for themselves. And also, these are not just datasets, because
mm,
these are also clean, standardized. So anybody can just download the dataset and use them. If they know just pivot table in Excel,
mm,
they
mm.
can easily use any dataset on the data.
Okay. You did mention the need for such a portal, saying that you want to make data sets clean and easy to use. But can you elaborate a little bit on that? Why did Factly really, you know, get down into this space and develop this uh,
Sure.
tool?
Like we already, like users know, like we have a newsroom team who works day in day out. They work on lots of data,
Yeah.
and even Pavitra was mentioning, like they compare a lot of annual reports.
Mm,
So there's no one-stop destination for public data in India.
mm,
Like there are some government data portals,
mm,
but they don't have all the data. They don't have time series data, and there, as you know, like there are a lot of ministries, and each ministry has a website,
mm,
and under each ministry there are a lot of departments.
mm,
So each of them release annual reports in their own websites and also data at different places. So there's no one-stop destination for public data in India. And also, like even if somebody goes on to them, collects all the data, there is no one user has to compile them at a place and also clean them.
mm,
So there's a lot of time consuming process, like they have to search for it. A lot of people don't know that such data exists, so we
mm,
do all those work for them. And also, there is no one data portal where you can find all the data. Like I was saying, there is no 50 plus sectors data.
mm, mm,
Or
mm,
there are some specific good data portals, but they're specific to some specific areas like economics, health.
mm,
So there's no one data portal where you find all the data which has
mm,
been released by the government of India.
mm, mm,
So that's why we thought, like, why not let people come onto our portal, search for it, find
mm,
it, easily download it, and use it in a simple way.
mm,
Because a lot of, like, we have been talking to a lot of journalists, and many people feel that they don't know the data skills, like technical skills
mm,
to what.
mm,
So what we did wantedly was we made it simple. Like
mm,
just search like it you do on Google, get the data,
mm.
download, and just use Excel for doing your own analysis.
Right. So, but when you compare this to, you did mention that in India there are no such data portals, but I'm guessing across the world there still are. And even within India, when you say there is an economic special portal or there's something that's limited to certain sectors, uh, but you know, what sets Dataful apart from all these other portals? And I'm talking even globally.
Okay. Currently, we are majorly focused on India
Okay.
and the data released by the government, because we
Hmm.
want our data to be authentic.
Mm.
Like, and we don't take data from private sources, but we
Mm.
just take it from the government, because at
Okay.
least when people come out to it and download it, they want it stamp of authenticity because government releases the data.
Yeah.
So how Dataful is different from other data portals? One is time series. So just like Pavitra was saying, we just don't restrict ourselves to 4 to 5 years. So
Mm.
Manipur one is you just take 4 to 5 years data. You don't get the trend of what happened in Manipur.
Mm.
So what we did was went through all the annual reports and compare the data for the last 23 years.
Okay.
So if somebody sees the data, they can find a trend. What is so
Mm.
we focus on time series one,
Mm.
and also what we do is like we file RTS wherever we don't find data. So anyway, in India, a lot of people file RTAs, but
Mm.
there's no one place where they find RTA data and everything.
Mm.
But what we did was we do file a lot of RTAs, and
Mm.
every response we get from the RTAs, we compare it to data sets and place it on the portal. So
Yeah.
anybody who want to use the same data, they can just download data from our data portal.
Yeah.
So we do that, and also we do a lot of value addition too.
Mm.
So whenever there's data, existing data, but we want some addition to that data, like uh, for instance, take state president rule. There is one thing is we got data from RTI from almost from 1951.
Mm.
So what on top of that, what we did was we added who was the prime minister then, like
Mm.
when the president rule happened, what was the reason for implementing the president rule, who was in the opposition. So we will also do a lot of value addition to the existing data, which we find that in a simple sense.
Yeah.
Um, Also, we do a lot. What we do is we have a lot of concepts like master collections, master data sets, where we not only just like for example, if I take digital payments, there are a lot of digital payments like credit card, debit card, UPI, a lot of digital payments and card payments. But anybody who wants to compare them at a place, what we did was we compiled all the data into a single data set. So if somebody wants to work on the payments sector, they just need to download one data set and cross compare and see what is the trend, what is decreasing, what is an increase. So that's one master data set concept, and we also have master collections. So if somebody wants to work on agriculture sector, we have section master collection called life cycle of agriculture, where people can find all the data sets related to agriculture. So from starting from uh, climate, seed sowing, like harvesting, selling the production. So all the data you find it with almost 30 to 40 data sets related to agriculture, you get it at one place. So anybody who wants to work on agriculture, they can just download that collection and they can work on and do their own analysis on agriculture. An interesting concept we also have is data sheets, where we provide the context to the data. So a lot of people don't know how data is collected, what are the data sources, and what are the methodology used to collect the data. So if people doesn't know that methodology and everything, they can use the data in a misleading way. So what we thought was, on top of downloading data, we also provided datasheet download option. So whenever they download a dataset, they need to download the datasheet and also read about how data is collected. You need to keep the points to remember while you are working with the dataset. And also we have something called data maps, which also gives a pictorial overview of what all datasets available on a specific topic.
Yeah. So I think it may sound like a cliche, but essentially, Dataful coming out of Factly is, it's going back to the idea of necessity is the mother of invention, right? Because the Factly has developed this portal because Dataful is really born of Factly's own pain points. The newsroom, the research team, the kind of challenges that they face when they are dealing with public data. So, which is why this, I think, is a portal like no other in that sense.
Yeah, at least for now, like there's
Yeah.
no other, at least in India.
Yeah, we aren't just patting ourselves on the back here. It And I think we've gotten some feedback from the industry as well in terms of
Yeah, there are a lot of positive feedback from a lot of like
yeah,
reach out to journalists,
yeah,
consultancies, anybody who works with public data. They need just there's no other option. Like
yeah,
a lot of there's a lot of pain points in there, and
yeah.
there's no possible solution. At least we're trying to provide that solution to
Yeah.
people.
And if you're wondering that, okay, maybe you don't work with public data, how is this applicable to you? What we are doing on our social media, Factly and Dataful, uh, are coming out with really bite-sized social media posts, very visual, colorful representations of data related to daily things like the consumption of eggs in the
Yeah,
country, and
correct.
accidents and forests across the country, all of that. So go to our social media handles. We are at Factly India, and the Dataful handle is
Dataful underscore fact.
Dataful_Factly. So follow us across these platforms, and you will also find access to this content, and it's very much on the go. You can consume these posts, but it's something that you can learn in just a minute, and these posts really uh, won't take up much of your time. uh, I think we don't have any questions, so we will stop with the process of taking questions now. But of course, you can always come back to us on our social media, on our videos, comment, use that comment space. And we have actually been getting feedback on some of our video products. So thank you. And we are working towards incorporating all of that in the best way that we can. With that, we've come to the end of this fortnight's edition of the Factly Digest. The next one will be 2 weeks later on 6th July around the same time, 6 p.m. IST. And in the meantime, if you haven't already subscribed to us, please do. There's a daily dose of informative content coming your way on our YouTube channel, and of course on our social media platforms, which is at Factly India everywhere, at the cost of repeating myself. And check out memberships. Consider joining, because it's one way for you to show that you care about anything related to public data and just facts and not misinformation. And yeah, like I've already said, reach out to us through all these platforms, and we are very much here waiting for your feedback, and also about what kind of content you would like to see. And we will take that into consideration when we write our articles, make our videos, um, do our posts on Dataful, Factly, all of it. um, And yes, I think that's all from our end. So thank you once again for joining us, and see you soon the next time.